In our automotive chassis 1 lab, today you have also discussed the another type of steering gearbox. Some other type of steering gearbox, some content are there. So that's our understand the function of steering gearbox, classify the steering gearbox into different types, define the term of cam type steering gearbox, discuss the advantage and disadvantage of different type of steering gearbox, understand the construction and working of different type of steering gearbox such as cam and peg, cam and roller, rack and pinion steering gearbox also. So cam and lever type steering gearbox. Cam and lever is the similar to the worm and sector gear mechanism. The worm is replaced with cam and sector is replaced with a lever. So there is the worm is replaced with cam and sector is replaced with lever. The helical groove is formed at the bottom end of the steering wheel shaft. The helical groove engage the projected pin into drop arm spindle lever. Drop arm is made rigid with the lever by a spline spindles. The to and fro motion is obtained at the drop arm when the steering wheel shaft is turned. This motion results the turning of stub axles. This is the picture of the cam and lever type steering gearbox. So this is the cam type thread which are connect to the steering shaft, and drop arm are connected to the pin projection with cam. And this is the picture of cam and lever type steering gearbox. Cam and peg type steering gearbox. The steering gear has a tapered peg in the rocker arm engaged with a special cam provided on the inner column. The peg is moved along the groove for rotating the rocker shaft by rotating the cam. An adjusting screw on the side cover is connected for grooving the backlash and end of the float of the rocker shaft. The rocker arm is rotated with high efficiency cam and peg gear rotated by a peg in the bearing. So this is the picture of cam and peg type steering system. So it is the cam shaft and the peg and needle roller are there, and this is the input shaft, that is steering shaft, and the end point this is the end plate, and those are the ball bearings are there, and peg, this is called peg, and this is our rocker arm and rocker arm shaft. So this is another type of steering gearbox mechanism. Now the recirculating ball type steering gearbox. This design is similar to a worm and nut sector gear, but with many modifications are there. The nut used in this design is no more square thread, rather is provided with coarse pitches, the helical groove. The groove are of semicircular cross section such that the groove cut in the worm and the nut from a circular section. the steel ball fill in the section and run freely on the helical path. In its working, the rotation of worm cause earlier winding up and winding down of the nut, thereby the forcing the ball to pass around the helical path. Since a peg is engaged with a hole in a side of the nut and the peg is carried by a cross shaft, therefore the movement of the ball and nut cause arc motion in the cross shaft. This friction is much less in this system as the nut and the worm have only point contact of the ball. So when the driver turns the steering wheel, the two steel ball race with the roll and the groove and make nut and travel along with the length of worm. So recirculating ball type steering system nowadays the most popular in most of the heavy vehicles, car or truck. So this some truck or many SUVs you have been seen. So here is the picture. This is the recirculating ball type steering gearbox. So see, this is the steering shaft and this is the worm shaft. The steering shaft are connected with the worm shaft and some balls, some bearings are connected in both sides, and those are the nut, and some is this groove as some balls, steel balls are located here, and these are the this is the ball, this is the ball and this is the ball nut, and this is the sector shaft. So the sector and sector shaft, this on this and this is the sector shaft, and this point is go through the cross shaft. So here is the this is the cross shaft, and it is one point side is attached to the sector and another side is attached to the pitman arm. So this is the type of recirculating ball type steering gearbox. Now rack and pinion steering gearbox. Rack and pinion steering gearbox. Rack and pinion steering use a gear set to convert the circular motion of the steering wheel into the linear motion required to turn the wheel. It is also provided a gear reduction, so the turning of wheel is easier. It works by enclosing the rack and pinion gear set in a metal tube, with each end of rack striking out from a tube and connect to an axle rod. The pinion gear is attached to the steering shaft so that when the steering wheel is turned, the gear spin and moving the rack. As the rack moves, the road wheel will be steered in the particular direction. Now this is the most popular gearbox or steering gearbox nowadays we have been seen in many light car or some trucks are there. So this is the most simple gearbox system. This is rack and pinion steering gearbox. This is the steering shaft, and the steering shaft goes to the rack and pinion housing or rack and pinion gearbox. So steering shaft, the end of the steering shaft are connected to the pinion. Pinion are meshed by the rack, which is placed inside the rack housing, and when the wheel is rotate, the power is transmitted to the linear motion and it goes to tie rod to steering knuckle. So and we can steer the wheel as our desired direction of path. Now in Tata Chashu, this is the one type of steering gearbox which is used in most of the Tata Chashu. This type of steering gearbox are called recirculating ball type steering system gearbox, and this is the intermediate shaft which is come to the UJ, and another end of the UJ are connected to the pinion shaft. This is the pinion, worm wheel, worm shaft and worm wheel. And if you see, this is the cut section of the recirculating ball type steering system. So if you see minutely, this is the worm wheel and the worm shaft. This shaft is worm shaft, and this one is the nut. So one nut are mounted to the worm shaft, worm and worm shaft. So the nut, inside nut, they are having some balls. Okay, the balls are placed to the worm from the place to the channel. Okay, so when the shaft, the worm shaft are rotate, what happen? Then the nut are move up and down directions. So this is basically the process of nut and bolt operating process, and inside the ball, which is minimize the frictions both this surface. So this is the, and if you see minutely, I'm showing that if you see minutely, the sector gear are placed below the nut. So, and sector gear, this is the sector gear, and this sector gears is called also the cross shaft. You may call shaft. The cross shaft has some gears which is called sector gear, and cross shaft are placed here, and it is goes to the outer section, and the outer section is connected to the pitman arm. So that type of steering system you may call the recirculating ball type steering systems. This is the model of Maruti Ambassador steering system. This is also the Recirculating steering system. Today we open it. We show what are the components are there inside the Recirculating steering system. Now we have to open it first. Now this is called pinion. This is the pinion shaft. Here, see, and this is the rack housing, and rack are inside here, and pinion, and this is the steering gearbox. So the pinion are inside here. Pinion and rack are meshed together. So when I rotate it, you see that the rotating motion of the pinion are transmit to the linear motion. How it possible? So see what happened. Rotate it. what happened is the lacquer comes out. So this is the process of how it works. Now I will open it. So this one is the rack and this is the tie rod. Here also, this is also the tie rod. This is the groove, this is the groove, the plater here, some plater here, the plate is inside this, mark this the groove, open it. So this is the ball joint, this one is the ball joint, see the ball are here, okay, and so this is the inner ball joint. This one is the outer ball joint. This is the outer tie rod also. This is the outer tie rod and this is the outer ball joint. And this one is connected to the knuckle. So I open it also. So this is the, to open it, this is the tie rod and this is the tie rod end. Now I open it. Now I open it. So this is the pinion. You see this one is, this is a portion. Some device, some nuts, some damping nuts are there. This is called damping, which are pressurized, which is pressurized to rack and pinion with proper mesh. Okay, so you can open it also. this is the plate, covering plate, and this is the pressure spring, that is called damping spring. This is the washer, and here this one is the damper. So the damper, which is already mixed with actually the rack and pinion are mixed by the damper. So you can see the washers are there. Here is the damper guard. So this is the damper and this is the damper spring. And you can see properly what happens. So inside this is the rack, and you will also see this is the pinion. Okay, so pinions and rack are mixed together. You see this side also, you properly see finish the cover. So you can see it properly. Here is the bearing, the ball bearing. Which are placed here, and this one is the machine. The system are there inside. Joint, and this is also the ring. So this is the basic component of the backup pinion steering system. And one thing is that this is a bleeded screw. So what is the function? This is the bleeding screw. That is not a bleeded screw. It's actually the inside the rack housing. Rack are must be lubricated. It means some liquid grease are placed here. So this port, you can put the liquid grease inside here.